right, so first off, just introduce yourselves. Tell us about who you are, your background before all this.
Don't point at me. I'm Linda Lowe, and this is my best friend, Katie. We met 41 years ago. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, 41 years ago at school. I won't say what I normally say. And we ended up becoming friends. And can I say what I joke around about? I joke around and say we have to remain friends. We have too much blackmail on each other now after 41 years.
Like most friends.
Yeah.
Yes, like most friends. And the part she didn't want to tell you is it was the first day of ninth grade, and the bus stop was right outside of my house. And I was so shy. I stood over at my house waiting for a while until people showed up at the bus stop.
Across a 4-lane road. She was going to have to book it across.
And I was wearing a fur jacket, and because that was cool then, and hiking boots and bell-bottom jeans.
It was going to be 107 degrees that day, but she looked good.
So that's how we met.
So before BFF Kitchen, what were you guys doing prior to that? Like, what was your careers?
I went to corporate, and I worked in the food industry.
Okay.
For Sara Lee, Earth Grains, and Dawn Foods. And my hidey hole was in, because what I had to do was, sometimes I was hired to help out on do acquisitions and turnarounds, and that's stressful. And a lot of times if I was hired, it wasn't a good thing to be hired. But sometimes it was good. It was. And my hidey hole turned into going into the QA office because they were testing all the products. And so it was fun in there. All right, and they didn't expect anything out of me. They weren't asking me if their job was going to be saved or efficiencies or anything like that. It was just fun.
Okay.
And my background, I worked my way through undergraduate school and my master's, put myself through. And my degrees are in sports medicine and exercise nutrition, which is why, nutrition and being healthy is really important to me. Okay. I did work in that field, but I worked full-time while I was working on my master's to put myself through. And then I decided it was time to have children. Yeah. So, and I homeschooled my kids.
Two very adorable kids.
Through 8th grade.
Wow.
And then after that, it was time to reinvent myself again.
Okay.
So
when did you guys decide the moment to start a business together? Was this something that was evolving, or just one day it just happened?
No, it evolved over time. Katie is one of those people that can organize the heck out of even a straight line. She'll get it even straighter. And so, like, when I had my real estate company, I would call her up and say, I need help. And then she turned into my assistant. She kept everybody on track. Okay. Right? And if they weren't scared of me, they were scared of her. And I'm just joking.
No, it's fine.
But she would keep everything organized. She made sure everything was stocked. She made sure we had everything we needed. She went over contracts. She'd made sure all the T's were crossed, all the I's were dotted. And it was in triplicate, right? And so she kept everything organized. And then she moved 3,100 miles away from me. And she walked in the office. She goes, "Don't shoot me." And then dropped the bomb on me. And then left. Like a month later, she was gone. And rude. Anyways, we would talk, and then she'd come and say, "Come out for a visit. Just come out for a visit." I'm like, "No, it's not California." I came out for a visit. Made the mistake of coming out to Massachusetts in October, right? If you don't want anybody to fall in love with the state, do not let them come out in October. Came out in October, and then we started talking about what we can do together, and COVID hit. And I don't have the personality to be locked down. I have some autoimmune diseases and stuff like that, and my husband's overprotective over me. Somebody else is overprotective over me. And I get locked down, and I don't have that personality. Yeah. And when she left for Switzerland for her vacation, she gave me a plaque that said, "In my defense, I was left unattended." And that fits my whole personality. So we talked about it, what we wanted to do, and Katie had tried out a job in Duxbury.
Oh, yeah, I did. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. It lasted about 5 days.
Yeah. She talked to me every day.
Right.
And Katie came to me and she goes, "Do you remember your salad dressing company? Let's start that up again." And I was like, nope. And then it's heavy. You get everything in 55-gallon drums. That's not something you just pick up.
Right.
But like all great ideas, it's when you're about to fall asleep, when you're driving, you're in the shower, and in Cliff Notes is anytime you don't have a piece of paper or a pen or a way to record that great idea. I was in the shower, literally, and I went, that came to me. And I said, I don't want to do the salad dressing per se, the whole thing, but I'll do the dry mix of it so they can make it. And they'll add their own wet ingredients, the heavy part. And then we can ship, because she's in Massachusetts. I was in California. I was trying to figure out the logistics of it.
Okay.
I called Katie's up, and she said, yeah. Oh, sorry. I called Katie up, and she goes, yeah.
But honestly, it took her some convincing.
Okay.
Because I had been thinking of doing small business with my husband. He works full time.
Okay.
But we were thinking, because my husband and I had talked about it for many years, buying fixer-uppers. He's got the knowledge. He's an engineer.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he has fixed up, we ourselves, me following him, we have fixed up a number of houses that we've lived in. So that, I had to debate between the two. What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to try to do both. My husband told me I was crazy. There's no way. You can't do two startups at the same time.
I would have said you're crazy, too. I would have bought the straight jacket.
And eventually I decided it would be more fun to do
More fun. Okay.
this.
It is fun.
Now, for those who don't know, what is BFF Kitchen? What's kind of that pitch you give to people when people ask you what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, what is it?
Yeah.
We do this for, like Katie said earlier, we do it because we believe in healthy and getting the chemicals out. But at the same time, a little bit of a backstory, what made us also do it, is that I'm a breast cancer warrior, and it took out my thyroid. I'm sure, and I talked to Katie about this, and that when they told me what the taxofen was going to do to me, and I'm sure they told me it was going to take my thyroid out, but I was just like, get it out. And then the thyroid went, and so I had the heart attack, which gave me the pericarditis. I mean, so it was down a rabbit hole. But it was all, don't do that, look. It was all done by chemicals. I'm here. It was all done by chemicals, so it got me there. And so I truly believe you can heal yourself through your gut. What you're taking in through your environment and food and all that stuff controls what's happening in the inside of your body. And then Katie, being health conscious as well, and she has a degree in it and all that stuff, and she was just like, this is a good idea. And we discuss everything all the time where if we can't pronounce it, you shouldn't put it in your body. If you can't grow it in your backyard, you're not putting it in your body. That's why we don't do things like gar gum and xanthan gum, which are emulsifiers and they're thickeners. We don't do any of that stuff. And if it has modified in the title, it's out. All right? We even discussed on the silicon dioxide, we started talking about this, and we said it's what majority of the people put in to make a free-flowing agent. It's river mud. When was the last time you went out and went, yum, let's go lick a river bed? No.
Never.
And so, exactly. And so we decided, let's not put that in there. And we'll put in a little recyclable package that you can reuse up to 5 times. Our bags are recyclable. We buy them from a company that's recyclable. So BFF, to me, I think it's what it is that we're coming together with our skill sets and we're making you learn how to cook at home and realize it can be fun and that it can be healthy at the same time. You don't need all that extra oil and the sugars and the fats. You don't need all that, I'm editing, stuff. I swear like a sailor. So if you see me pause, it's me not saying it. I'll just do your beeps for you.
All right. Fine.
So anyways, and that's basically what we are. And we're two best friends. We have fun. We do recipes. We try to break our spices, meaning we try to do at least 10 different recipes off of them. And Katie and I come at it 2 different ways. If it can be a sauce, she loves it. All right?
Okay.
I love the dry rubs and seasonings.
Okay.
I'm hot and savory. She's sweet and savory.
So,
And creamy.
Go ahead.
And just so some of the, like when somebody comes up to us at a show and says, okay, what are you? What's BFF Kitchen? Some of the quick things that we do to give them all that info, but we say we're female owned, we're locally produced, part of the community. We want to support our community. We believe, like she said, in the healthy meals. We're dry rubs, seasonings, flavor infused maple sugars,
Pestos.
and
Jerk seasoning now.
and finishing salts.
She leaves me unattended a lot. Just kidding. Just kidding.
One of the things that I saw, and I was on the website, that there seems to be a lot of personality coming through on the products. Talk about that.
Okay. Yes. So
It's not just your straightforward, this is what it is. There's a lot of personality, which I
yes,
really love.
there is a lot of personality, especially in the names. So and in the dry rubs themselves, but like within the names. So our goal is, since we're women owned,
Yeah.
we wanted our names to be women focused,
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of vision that we're hoping to create with the names is strong women. Kind of sassy but fun, sassy, not disrespectful, not rude, sassy, a little flirty, but again with the respect,
A little sarcasm.
and a little sarcasm. That Linda's the queen of sarcasm.
My
That's
first language.
true. Yeah, and so silly, sassy, flirty, yet respectful, and fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of. I usually am the one that starts. This is Katie. I'm the one that starts with
Right.
the names. That Linda put that on me. I don't always. I still pull her into it.
Okay.
So I'll start out with some research, or just coming up, and the personality will come from sometimes what the rub tastes like to me, or what ideas it gives me when I taste it.
Or like the regions.
Or, that's what I was going to say, I always do a lot of research on my rubs, on my seasonings, and where they come from. So if I can't think of something, like we have one called Smokin' Babe. Well, that one got its name because we're women, and
That was our first one.
it was our very first one. And because it had this really nice smoky flavor that we liked, and that's where Smokin' Babe came from.
That you liked.
Okay, fine, that I liked and my family liked. But then Voodoo Vixen, it's one of our hot ones. So we wanted that to be kind of like just a name, still not disrespectful, but fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just give you that idea of like maybe aggressive or hot. And then
It's Caribbean.
and I did the research in this case to find out where it all came from, right? And that's why I came up with Voodoo.
And then she calls me and dumps all the information on me. And goes, what's your opinion? I'm still spinning from all the information.
So just getting it. So talk about the rubs and seasonings you offer.
So we offer,
Oh, we have a variety.
yes, we have savory. We've got four savory, I would say.
Yeah, 4. Bountiful Beauty is a savory.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one. Anyways, we've got, okay,
fine, you
I'm
do
going
it.
to end up forgetting some then. So the ones I was thinking of was Butt Kickin', Flower Child, Divinely Dippin', and
Flower Child.
Cowgirl.
Oh, seasoning.
Those are the ones
Yeah.
we put together that are savory.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So we've got savory, we have creamy, we have citrus and creamy together, then we have citrus by itself. We have barbecue, like traditional barbecue flavor, and we have the high heat ones. And then the most recent additions are two pestos and 2 that are kind of they
the
may
coffee
not
rubs.
they may not make the cut.
Okay.
One's going to make the cut. Bohemian's going to make the cut.
All right. So we've got
I
one.
sold out.
We made a coffee rub.
Okay.
And it's not as versatile as we like our products
Okay.
to be. And so because of that, it may not make the cut. We'll see. But the chicory rub, because not everybody loves coffee, we did a chicory.
Okay.
So they're
You can probably
identical.
blend those two.
Other than the coffee and chicory, they're identical. And so the chicory rub does turn out to be versatile.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the coffee
So,
one.
so is it important that it has to be versatile? Is that like a big go or no go sort of thing?
I think so.
Think about it right now. Think about you're in your kitchen, right? You're reaching to your left because that's where most people keep their spices. You open it up, right? And you just said, "Yep, we're above your
I'm just where our spices are in our house. Yeah.
And you're reaching up there and you're going to see all these containers. All the stuff in the back is what you picked up at the craft fairs, or someone said, try this. And then you bring it home, you schlep it home, it goes in the cupboard, you have good intentions, you're going to use it. And a year later, it's taking a trip to the dump, all right? Because it sat there. I want to be able to do something, and Katie and I have discussed, and this is huge important, that you're going to be able to do 10 very distinct recipes out of it. Like our Sunshine Girl. You can make coleslaw, but you can make chicken piccata with it. You can make shrimp scampi with it. You can make chicken and rice with it. You can make tzatziki out of it. There is so many things, and you only have to add 1 or 2 things to it. Tzatziki is sour cream and cucumber. You have everything else in it already, right? And so even when you're making like the chicken piccata, you're adding the capers, the wine, the onion, the chicken, right? It's done. And you can get in and out of the kitchen in 20 minutes. Now, would you not cook for 20 minutes? You can't even do a TV dinner for under 20 minutes. Right? So that's what's really important to us. And then the other cool thing is Katie lets my personality come through on some of them, like Hot Rod Mama. And I'll lull you into a false sense of security, and I'll have people come up and they'll go, yeah, I heard you got a good hot one. And it's like a Hot Rod Mama. And then they'll come up and try it. And I love watching their eyes dilate from the flavor, right? And I'll stare right at them. And so I'll see these big burly guys come up and they'll try it. And they'll go, that's not so hot, but I have a 3,200 Scoville. That's it. On the chili flakes that hit you on the side of your tongue. But I have 900,000 in a powder of cayenne pepper that's going to hit you in the back of the throat. You're now married to it. Right? Your only escape is to swallow and drink some milk. Right?
Yeah.
And I have fun with things like that. And the same thing like on our Voodoo Vixen, when we have a lot of, they're balanced. All the flavors are balanced. So you get a whole bunch of different notes of things. And they come in waves on it. So you're not just getting all the flavor at once and it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
You get it in waves of it. And just like our Siren's Kiss, it's one of our salts. Right? We're using a Leia salt that we import from Hawaii. Right? It's a volcanic rock salt that has trace minerals with it. We're using a roasted garlic in it that we get from a local farmer. And then we have honey in it, right? The number one ingredient is honey. But then we have Carolina Reaper, which is a sweet hot pepper. And we have the ghost pepper. So you get all those notes, and they come in waves. They don't just hit you all at once, and that's it. Try that on popcorn. Try that on shrimp. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it, and that it's great, all right? And I'm not a big salt person, and I love it.
So how do you create them? You don't. I'm sure you're just not like throwing things together and seeing what happens. Like how does this get created?
That's a $1 million question.
So it's a process.
Okay.
And the entire process began when Linda was a teenager, when her father owned a spice company. And
I was one very lucky kid.
he had a wall of boxes of spices, and he would tell Linda, go experiment, go have fun. And that's kind of where Linda started. Now, usually, the experimentation takes place in my kitchen. And then
He gets to clean this.
that's when we're experimenting, like developing a new flavor. But even before we get to the kitchen and Linda is pairing together flavors, she usually will research. Like when we were going to produce, she wanted to come up with a jerk seasoning.
Yeah.
And so she went and studied first what's usually in a jerk, any jerk. And then she learned, there's more than one jerk seasoning. There's Jamaican jerk, there's Caribbean jerk. There might even be additional, I'm not sure.
The Louisiana.
Okay, so by region, by country. And so then she goes and kind of, she reads, she researches, she figures that out. And because of her knowledge and her tongue, she can picture in her head already what flavors are going to meld nicely together. And sometimes I will try to give my 2 cents, like with Siren's Allure. So we don't do hot just for the sake of hot.
Yeah.
With our Siren's Allure, there were 2 takes on it. And for some reason, in my mind, I felt like, because we already had Hot Rod Mama, and I thought, okay, well, we need to have one that's even hotter than Hot Rod Mama.
Okay.
And so in my mind, when I tasted the Siren's Allure the first time, I'm like, I don't think it's hotter than Hot Rod Mama. So we upped probably
pepper
both
and
the peppers.
yeah, we did up both.
We upped both the peppers. And then, it was a year ago, Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
You brought over, with my son was there. I don't think my daughter was there. Our husbands were there. And she brought over chicken wings made with both.
Okay.
The original Siren's Allure, take one. And then after I gave my 2 cents, and everybody preferred, the second one was hotter, but everybody preferred the first one because it was more flavorful. So that's also, in creating them, very important. So not only the research.
It has to have flavor. Not
It
just
has to be
heat.
very flavorful. All of them need to be flavorful. And the flavors need to meld and marry and complement.
Have some fun in there.
Okay. Is there a target market? Is there a specific market you guys are targeting?
Both of us have a little bit different idea on that.
Okay.
I
so.
am after the forgotten ones, which is the biggest market coming after us. It's our kids. that, like when I moved away, instead of my kids moving out, I was the one who moved away, and figured a way to get them out of the house. I left. I thought they knew how to cook, right? I really did, because of me as their mom. I really thought there's nothing out there. I really can't cook. So I thought, oh, they have got to have gotten some of this. And when my daughter started calling me up for recipes, I said, did you learn this? You were in the kitchen when I used to make this. And she goes, yeah, but we always thought you were going to be here, and we didn't know you were going to move 3,100 miles away. And so I started having to walk her through recipes. And then I started having some of her friends ask me for recipes. And my son started asking me for recipes. And I was like going, that's a huge demographic. And that's a large demographic.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm loath to put labels on people and call them the millennials and all that stuff. But it is the 20-something-year-olds that didn't get home ec, right? The parents were working. You know, that
Right.
that we were so busy shuttling from place to place that KFC turned into, at least once a week drive-throughs, right? And so we kind of like lost that family dinnerness and sitting down. I was raised with every single night was family dinner, right? A home cooked meal. It was a treat to have anything like McDonald's or KFC.
Yeah.
I had KFC like twice a year, right? And I was like, score, right?
Yeah.
And then I had a fight over 5 brothers and sisters over it, right? Always got the wings. Anyway, do I like wings? No. Anyways, it is, so to me, that's important to me to be able to bring that back. But then being with Katie, and we're out there at the craft fairs and the farmers market, we're selling a lot to our age group that are burned out and tired of cooking.
Yes.
That want to find a quick way to do something that's healthy.
Yeah.
And so we actually do have a huge demographic. And the cool thing, like I noticed on Sunday, I had a lot of college students coming. I was in East Bridgewater. I had a lot of college students come out. And I was watching the fire being ignited with them when I was telling them how some simple recipes only took 3 steps to do it. They're like, I can do that. I have chicken in my refrigerator. I can do that. And they'll buy the spice, right? And it's really great, right? When you see that, and you can see that I can do this, right? And cooking can be intimidating. Katie's mom, when we first met, right? I met her in September. October is her mother's birthday. Isn't it in October?
Yes.
It's her mother's birthday. I thought I was going to make her a cake. 10 cakes later, right? I finally had one that was salvageable enough that I can give them. It's either burnt, undercooked. It was awful. Now I can bake a cake from scratch. All right?
Blindfolded.
Yes. But everybody has to start somewhere, right?
Yes.
That was the beginning of my baking, right?
Yes.
But that's taking that first step and letting the people know you can do this, right? And you're only limited by your imagination. And if you don't have imagination, we give you recipes. Just
Right.
follow along the bouncing ball.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so that when we first started, that is who Linda said would be like that. That's what she envisioned as our target market, and like she said, I think since we've been out there and selling, we just see that because even people who are seasoned cooks. We've had, like this last weekend at the show in Hanover, there were 2 chefs right across from my booth. Linda left me all by myself this weekend.
You left me in Middleborough and East Bridgewater. Don't go there.
I know. And so, anyways, I had 2 chefs over there, and they were very interested. And then there was like another show where they didn't tell us, and sometimes they don't tell us ahead of time we're chefs. They come over, they pick our brains, they're asking us about our product, and then once we're way into it, they're like, by the way, I'm a chef. And there was one time, now granted, this gentleman didn't purchase anything, but he said, at the end, he said, I'm a chef. And he had sniffed. He smelled our stuff because we always have the sniffers out there, if you will. You can, you can smell them, you can taste them. And he did so. And then he said, I'm taking your card. He said, I'm a chef and I never buy. And he didn't buy, granted, but he said, I never take a card either. So he took a card. So I say that our target market is even more, like including seasoned cooks who maybe want a new idea, a new flavor. People like also this last weekend, the sisters, Victoria and Sarah.
Oh, yes.
Victoria
Amazing
is
girl.
engaged. These are friends
Okay.
of ours that we've met through the festivals
Okay.
that we sell at. And Victoria is engaged now, and she comes over and she picked my brain. This is the first time that she's ever wanted this much detail, because her and her fiance want to start learning to cook. So, the people that are just looking for a way, and she's like, I know there's all these spices, but I don't know how to put them together.
Yeah,
And
how do you?
that's where we come in. We've put them together for you, so you don't have to. So,
I truly believe cooking brings people together,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Have you ever been angry eating ice cream?
No.
Right?
No.
And you can be hangry, and as soon as you get that burger or you get it's all over. You're fine. And it's fun, right? And like I said, one of my favorite things is when they try a sample and I get to watch their eyes dilate, right? And then I get a little smirk, is like, I know, right? And then they're grabbing other people and let's go, you got to try us. And now we're getting people following us from fair to fair,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like going, don't you already? And I'll have like when I'm more, I'm going to mispronounce this. I'm from California. I apologize now.
Go for it.
Falmouth?
Falmouth.
Falmouth.
Was that right?
Pretty close.
You're very close.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
80% of the way there.
Okay. I still got my R, sorry. So this one lady came in and she startled me because she grabbed me from behind across the thing and she went back in a hug. She goes, hi, Katie, I'm looking for Linda. And I went, I'll tell you where Linda's at when you release me. And as soon as she released me, I went running around the thing. I looked at her and she goes, oh, Linda. And I'm like, crap. Oh, sorry, I almost swore. I said, oh, I must know her. And she goes, I can't go home without the 2 large bags of Cowgirl Ranch. And then I recognized her. I went, you just got it like 2 weeks ago. She goes, oh, we did all your recipes. We turned that Cowgirl Ranch we put it in the mashed potatoes. I did that Zybeck potato you told me with that little shortcut with the chopsticks. She goes, I just love that shortcut key. She goes, I aced my family. I'm like, that's all you went through all that with it? She goes, no. She goes, then we turned it into macaroni and cheese like you said. And, we did some of your ideas. And then now I got to get 2 more bags. I'm like, all right, at least I know they're not eating preservatives. Here you go. All right. And we're going to be coming out with a macaroni. It's a cheese mixture that we had before. It was called Peekaboo. And we did a research on it. And I went, beta-carotene, is that natural? Right? And then Katie and I were talking. And we went, cheddar cheese, is it supposed to be orange? Right? And we said, when was the last time we saw a cow being milked and the milk came out orange? Right? And we're like, we all pray for chocolate milk, but not orange milk, right? And we decided that no, we're not going to put cheddar in it. We're going to put cheddar, but not the orange cheddar, right? Okay. You don't need those extra chemicals in there. It does nothing to enhance the flavor. It's just aesthetics, and it's orange. Not even natural. Orange. Nothing rhymes with orange.
So what's been a big seller? What's that number one go-to that people love?
We have different ideas on that.
Yes, we do.
So you...
Well, you know what? No, this is what it is. It depends on who's in the booth. Because we tend to go towards our favorites. And we're a little bit more enthusiastic about our favorites. And I know this. I know Smokin' Babe is the most awesome thing you're ever going to see put on pork. Right? Pigs should run from this because people are going to want to eat more of them. Katie loves smoking. It's not my favorite. So when you come to me on it, I tend to shy away from that. I'll direct you to the ones I like, right? And I can rattle off 15 recipes for you. Katie can do smoke it, and she'll rattle off 15 recipes off of it. And things I go, oh, I haven't even tried that, right? And high heel bourbon is like a huge one where I've been after it for the last year. Let's discontinue it. Let's discontinue it.
Nope.
We sold out this weekend.
Yep.
And then it makes a liar out of me.
If we had to pick, it's hard to pick one.
Okay.
A Cowgirl Ranch is way up there.
Oh yeah,
Especially
that is our number one is Cowgirl Ranch.
Especially when we have samples available for people to taste it made. Then Blissful is very close. Blissful Babe, very close, especially when it's made as a
remoulade.
Remoulade, yeah. When it's made with the heavy cream and the mayonnaise. Now, but then, see, here's the thing. Blissful Babe has sugar, and so that I could say easily that's the top one from my barbecue flavors.
Okay.
But no salt.
That's right, no added salt. It has Worcestershire powder in it, but no added salt.
Okay.
And then from the savories, I'd say Divinely.
Oh, I would have said Flower Child.
I know.
Because I left with only one on Sunday.
Okay.
So jumping out of that, what's your favorites?
Yes. Oh,
What's
gosh.
that one that you can't live without?
You know what I say about that? It's like telling me to pick my favorite kid. I'm going to say the one who's irritating me the least is my favorite. And I go bouncing back and forth on flavor profiles.
Me too, yeah.
And I get stuck in a rut, though. Like this week, right? Tonight we're having poached fish I made a risotto, and I used our spices today, and it's already done. Not the fish. You don't want dry fish. But but then tomorrow, and I already know because I already did the meal prep for the rest of the week, and that's how I get it out of the kitchen so fast. We're having Asian food almost every single week. Poor Katie, that means she is too. Because when I come up with a new recipe, I go, try. And so I go into flavor profiles, and I stay there for a while, and then I'll leave it, and I won't come back for it till like a month.
Okay, but
so I don't really
if
have
there
a
was
say.
one,
One?
like if
Just
there
one.
was one, like
Just
if
one?
somebody
Just
said
one, say-
you have to pick one or you're gonna die.
Oh, that
I
far.
can only do that on I would only
fine.
do that on Katie.
One, no,
She's the
one,
one
one that you had to have for the rest of your life.
For me, it would be
Flower child.
smoking, babe.
Flour child, hands down. I just used it today in 3 dishes.
For me, it would be smoking.
Okay, so to also talk about the recipes. I was on the website. The recipes are really great. Just
Thank you.
welcome
To my mind.
Right, so, who
It could be a dark and dangerous place, but welcome there.
So do you guys create that? So who creates them? Do you guys create them? Are you getting from somewhere else?
We create them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. This is the one when I'm gonna pick on coconut shrimp. When people go, "How did you come up with that recipe?" And I went, it was one of those days that I opened up the refrigerator, did the scan up and down, closed it, went over to the pantry, scanned it up and down, went back to the refrigerator, and thought that something miraculously popped up in there. Right? It didn't. And I saw the coconut cream that was from Trader Joe's, and I saw it, and I did a little cuss out of my daughter for leaving all her coconut stuff at the house, and now I have to do something with it. And so I put it on the counter. And then I just happened to see Summer Muse, and then I went back. I don't know what it was, but something in my mind told me go get the shrimp. I got the shrimp, and 3 ingredients later, I had coconut shrimp.
Yes.
And how I did it, I don't know. It was just something I
That's-
thought about, and I went, let's try.
That's mostly Linda who comes up with
Okay.
those kinds of recipes. And then also,
But that's not true. You dog me for things.
that's true. Yes, I do have some. There are some, but you do the majority of
Okay.
them, I would say.
Yeah, but you throw things
And-
at me and say, I want to do this.
That's
Figure
true.
out a way to do this.
That's true.
Do you know how many
I do.
times you say that to me? Figure out a way to do this.
That is
This
true.
is the flavor profile I want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we both come up with them.
Jumping back to the sales side, is there something that you sold a lot that surprised you? Like, I can't believe this was as big a hit as it is.
This
What-
weekend, High Heel Babe. High Heel Bourbon. High Heel Bourbon.
I hail Bourbon.
Still in
that-
shock over that.
That always surprises her.
I don't like that one as well. It's not
So
on my top 10.
A few weeks ago, the one that surprised me was the Bohemian Fantasy.
I love Bohemian.
Which is our chicory rub. And because we hadn't yet made that one and our Flirty Barista, the coffee rub, because we hadn't done either of them, like we hadn't brainstormed and experimented to turn them into a bunch of different recipes. When Linda did turn that one into a dip, a cream cheese and sour cream dip, and then people were tasting it, and then it was flying off the shelf, and that did surprise me. So Bohemian for me.
High Heel was the one that surprised me on it.
Yeah.
What about on the flip side? It's something you're like, this is going to be huge, and it's like, and then at
We
the end
have
of it,
one.
you're like, what? Like, where are we missing here?
One started off not huge, and then it blew up. That was High Heel. But the thing that really surprised me, I thought that our Flirty Barista, I really thought
Yeah.
that was a winner.
I did too, actually.
It's still in the parking lot. It
Now
hasn't
that-
even circled the block yet.
Yeah, now that you say that, I did think the Flirty Barista was going to be popular, and now we're considering discontinuing that one. So,
No, as we were sitting here, I had an idea of how to save it.
All right.
okay.
Well, all right. So talk about the local aspect. So you try to source as many local herbs and spices as you can.
Yes, and I'm going to start out because Linda earlier said about the salt coming from Hawaii, but actually we buy that from we don't source it.
We're not going to Hawaii.
We
You're
don't
not going
go
to Hawaii to
Hawaii.
source
We don't.
it.
I
We
wish.
don't import.
I mean, yeah, it'd be nice.
We don't import it. We
have a
actually
purse.
get that from Atlantic Spice Company, who's on the
Okay.
Cape. Okay, so we do what we can to source everything, our spices.
Like our maple sugar, right? I wanted to use maple because the High Heel Bourbon needed maple in it. And so I started looking at where to get maple and researching it. And I started, when you do the Google, it always shows you back to Amazon. I refuse to do Amazon. So I was, but that'll tell me some of the name brands I don't know about. And then I'll go to their websites, right? And that's how I found Two Brothers. And she goes, how'd you find me? I went, Amazon, right? And I said, but I decided to go directly through you, even though it's the same price. Yeah. I wanted to go directly through them. And now Eric and I have built up, because of Erica, Island Girl is her.
Yes.
And because of her, we built up a rapport that if we need something, and like say we need maple sugar and we're down, and she's up in Vermont, I'll get it 2 days later. Fresh. She makes it on demand.
Right.
So that means I know she made it that night and shipped it out the next morning. And we build up these relationships. And like with Dave Palmer, who does our garlic, right? And our garlic rocks and the garlic we're using 9 weeks ago is living its best life in the ground. And then whoop, it came out. Right?
Farmer Palmer is in New Hampshire.
Okay.
So we try to stay as local as possible. We even,
Mm-hmm.
with our salts, when we decided that we were going to add a couple of flavors, we only have a few flavors of salts. The dry rubs and seasonings are our focus.
Mm-hmm.
But we did try to partner with a local company here on the South Shore. It didn't work out. They didn't want to partner with us, which is fine, but we're always searching for and trying to partner locally, women-owned, small businesses.
But our salt that we did end up using is a small company.
Yes.
And they import, like we use an Aphrodite's Kiss. I'm using Greek sea salt flaked. They come in these beautiful flakes. And then that's the last thing I want, because you have to be so gentle with it. Because I want to make sure you can use it, because then it melts. And that's coming from a small company.
Yes. So the small company is local, where we're getting it from, but then they have to source their stuff wherever they get it.
And our vanilla and everything, yeah.
So we're recording this in early December. What's popular right now?
All of us stuff, and this is funny, I never really thought about making our stuffs into dip. Some of our blends.
Yeah.
Never even, it didn't cross my mind, right? I did dip-ish things, but I never turned it into a dip. And then we recently decided we had to find a way that we can transport it and keep it food safe for you to try it. And dips came up because we can put them in these containers with the ice underneath them, and we can give them the right temperature, and then they toss them, right? And
So
we started turning what we could into dips, and that's how Bohemian turned into a
Took off.
surprise dip.
So so I would say this last weekend at Castleberry was funny. This was also a surprise. High heel flew off I ran out early on Saturday. Then the next day on Sunday, I hardly sold any high heel. So I would say when it makes a dip, so the savories right now, I think, because of the season, the savory ones are this
Butt
season.
kicking. Butt kicking's a really big one that's going into dips.
Yes. Because we're in the winter season. We're in December. The football games are coming up, or the holidays are coming up.
Yeah.
Flower Child Divinely and Butt Kickin', especially since you turned the Flower Child into that cranberry
Walnut
dip.
Is there a time of year that's busier than others?
2 times. Father's Day, right?
Okay.
Because everybody wants to get them for their dads. And Christmas, because so many people are buying smokers right now, and they need to know how to do it. And so it's kind of cool, because all of our dry rubs turn into a matching barbecue sauce with 2 ingredients. And do not say ketchup.
I will not.
It's tomato sauce and vinegar, so there's no extra sugar. You're not getting overload on the sugar. There's no oil. There's nothing modified in it.
Yeah.
And when you try a fresh barbecue sauce for the first time, you'll never want to go back. It's kind of like the first time you have fresh ketchup versus the bottled stuff. And you realize you don't need those preservatives. And it's a totally different ball game, and it ups your cooking from being you're great, but now we're going to make it awesome, where people want to come to your house and they're asking you to bring a dish. So that's one of the things. That's our number one sellers right now is Father's Day is when we get slammed, June, and then right around Christmas time. But now with the dips, we were getting it around Thanksgiving because of the dips.
Right. So I would say the holiday season beginning with November.
I'll wait till you tell somebody to put the Cowgirl Ranch inside their mashed potatoes. And they go, oh, that would be good. And the next time I see them, they go, we tried it. It was so good. I was like, I told you.
So what separates you from others in the same space?
I have a list of things, but because I thought these through last night, but you may have a different take.
Pondered them. I think what sets us apart is that we do have a passion for cooking. We do have a passion for people, right? We actually do. Well, I kind of like people. I love being in the kitchen. That's my hidey hole. But there's to me, there's nothing better than bringing people together around a table. I love game nights, right?
Okay.
And instead of having pizza, which you can only have so much, let's face it, before you
Right.
start getting burned out on it. But it's not that hard to make stuffed shells or to elevate something, and you can do it really fast, and you don't even realize it. And so you're bringing people together, and you can't replace memories. When you can put down that cell phone and all that stuff, and you're present, right? That's like the coolest thing for me, right? And bringing people back together with the cooking and all that stuff, and getting them back in the kitchen without having to do the preservatives, the dyes, the gluten, the GMO.
Yeah, that's what separates us, right? We're either no salt or low salt.
There's no crap in there.
We're healthy,
Smelling sausage.
natural. We're passionate about our flavors.
Okay.
We're passionate about people and sharing them with people. And another thing that I really think sets us apart is that we insist that each rub or seasoning is versatile. So many times we have customers who will say, oh, I bought something for one dish, and now there that spice sits in my cupboard.
Right.
We don't want that. We don't want you to do that. And we tell people, we give them our email address, heck, we give them our phone numbers, and we tell them, if you're stuck and you've got that sitting there and you haven't used it, what? Hey, my phone number's on my business card, and yours is on yours.
And then you direct them to, if you have a problem, go call Linda.
And I do direct them to Linda for recipe ideas. Yes, it's true.
So what does the next 6 to 12 months look like?
So we probably should have talked about this ahead of time.
Well, actually, the next 6 to 12 months, we're actually starting gearing up again for next year. We have a couple of new
Yes.
mixes that are going to be coming out. And it takes us there's only been one that's been one hit, bam, out of the park, Sunshine Girl.
Yes.
All the other ones was development.
Yes.
And so this is the time we develop the new ones, the new flavors coming out next year, right? So that cheese is going to be developed during this time. We have a sweet barbecue sauce coming out, and it takes us a couple of months from the time we start talking about it to actually putting pen to paper, because that's what I do. I start writing down ideas, what goes in it, and then actually trying it and going down to the dungeon and grabbing the different spices and blending them and stuff, and then trying them out. So, and the next 6 to 8 months, there's something that's on Katie's plate.
Oh, yes. So I will be working on our cookbook, our first cookbook.
Wow.
So that is definitely going to be in the next 6 months.
And I'm going to be
Hopefully
working on
less.
YouTube.
And we have our wholesale license, and we would like to start getting into small local
Awesome.
boutiques, grocery stores, butcher shops, and there was something that someone this weekend, who one of the ladies said her sister sells to this one grocery store, and she said, oh, they would gobble you up. So I'm going to be looking. So that's kind of where we are. Recipe book, utilizing that wholesale license that we have now, and development. Yeah.
So one thing we've learned, or it's a common theme in this podcast, is that business is all about partners. So who are the best partners for you?
Yes. I would say the local chambers of commerce that we belong to, the various ones.
Really?
I say the people at the trade fairs, because they give us.
That's true. Them too.
That's how we find out about new trades and stuff.
That's true.
And talking to people, and this is an odd one.
Yeah.
Our customers, because I will hear them about flavor profiles and stuff, and you can't mention flavor profiles because I'll go down a rabbit hole, right? And Katie gets it on the other end, and I go try. I got to tell you a footnote on this. Hot Rod Mama got its name because I was trying to that blend. I was blending it. She hadn't tried it yet. I went up to her. I said, "Hey, stick out your hand." And I dumped it dry in her hand, dry in her hand, and she popped it back. Right? I forgot to tell her there was 900,000 Scoville in it. Right?
So
she doesn't like heat.
Yeah. I said, "Oh, Mama."
And I went, "Oh, Hot Rod Mama, that'd be great," because I
There
had
you
a
go.
picture of a
So
stingray
she-
going down the road and all that
Yes.
stuff. And I went, "Yeah, that's
Nice.
good."
So that was part of it, Hot Rod Mama.
Yeah.
But also her husband calls her Hot Rod Mama when she's driving.
Okay.
If I'm by myself, yeah.
Yes, when she's driving by herself, she's got
With
a
people
lead.
in the car, I'm a grandma. But when I'm by myself,
You're-
get out of
she's
my
the
way.
lead foot.
More aggressive.
And
Yeah.
so that is exactly me shouting out, "Oh, Mama," and then her husband calling her Hot Rod Mama.
There you go.
That's how that name came together. So yeah, I mean, no, you're right. We have learned so much from all of the other vendors at the shows, every show we go to. I have on my phone, I've got a list. I write things down constantly. We're always learning.
We're evolving.
We're evolving, and with the help of other people, other small businesses who have gone before us, and who are still coming up behind us. Even, I mean, they have great ideas too, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And
Like
then I think the chambers can be.
they're a great wealth of
They
information.
can be a great partner
Yeah.
if we utilize
Right.
them better. So we haven't done our best because it's just the two of us.
Right.
Right. And like I was telling people this weekend, we've been really slammed with festivals all like literally every weekend, sometimes multiples in a weekend, and then weekdays too, October, November through this last weekend.
I'm living
So
for January.
we just haven't had time to do that back office work
Yeah.
that also has to get done.
Yeah, I was going to say, where do you find the balance to do
Oh
everything?
my gosh.
Here's a balance.
I don't think I have found it yet, though. My husband's always trying to give me ideas because I'm kind of loosey-goosey with my time. I like to get my 9 hours of sleep. And I'm also a night owl. I'm
Okay.
trying to restructure. So for me,
It behooves you to let her sleep.
for me, I am actively working towards going to bed earlier, waking up in the morning, starting out my day with my whatever I need to get me going, and then having set hours where I'm doing that back office work that has to get done, and then allowing myself to say, okay, I've done my 5, 6, 7 hours, whatever it is. And now I can move on and do this other stuff that I would want to do, knowing that I'm going to come back. So I guess it's a work in progress for me.
Right.
It's a
Of
work in
course.
progress for me.
Yeah, this is the latest I've ever seen your house not decorated for Christmas. I have a tree up with one ornament on it. That's because I bought one ornament, stuck it on the tree. And but it is, you got to understand, we do our own blends, right? We're blending them by hand, and they're in small batches. We're blending them for the upcoming festival, so we're not using a co-packer.
Right.
But then we also seal our own package. We label our own
Yeah, you're doing
packages.
everything.
We
We're
do
doing
it all right now,
everything.
yes.
And Katie's better at keeping things a little bit more organized and in line and all that stuff, because if I'm tired, that sticker's going to start skinning askew. And look on the top of it. Hers are always straight lines, right? She's hitting that notch. Mine's like, right? It's sealed, right? But it's not as pretty as hers. And I always call them, I'm lining up my soldiers when I'm at the sealer, because I line them up on a shelf thing. That really makes me happy. But it is, but that's one of the things, is trying to find that balance. And I'm a little bit more blessed than she is, because writing the recipes, I get to feed the people with it. So it's not like it's done, right? And you do get to reap the benefits of that too. Because when I
true.
find
Linda doesn't know how to cook for two people.
No.
And it's just her and her husband now at home. She has always cooked for an army. So I reap the benefits.
big family.
I don't, maybe not the same night, but maybe the next night, which is just fine with me. I love leftovers.
I hate leftovers.
I love them. And then I don't have to cook the next night or two because I get their leftovers. So
Yeah, I'll hear it when I'm at her house, and her husband will come home and go, "What's for dinner?" And she goes, "Linda's leftovers." I'm just like, "Oh, right. Actually, not my leftovers, but okay." But yeah, like right now in my car, I have the risotto I made this morning. I made a mushroom risotto for Katie. Not for Katie, but both Katie and I eat mushrooms, and I found mushrooms in my refrigerator, and away we went down the rabbit hole because I found mushrooms.
There you go.
And I made a 13-bean soup last night with our flower child, and because I had decided to do a challenge to myself. I love challenging myself. I found a ham steak on my freezer. I decided to make 4 different meals that I can feed 4 people off of, and I achieved it last night. That's why I already know what the whole menu is this week.
And as you've probably noticed, because this was a question about balance, sometimes it's me reining Linda back because she is constantly, her brain is working all the time. And so one thought will lead to another, and then we'll both get lost. And I'll go, okay, wait, back to the first.
Let's get back to this. Let's
Back
get
to
back
the first idea, and then we'll go to that one.
Yeah.
So
But I'm already over the first idea.
right.
So what's the best piece of advice you've been given from a business perspective?
Plan it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
That was
so.
our weak point.
Yes, but I agree. That is exactly what I
We should have had a
said-
business plan before we even
Yes.
started buying ingredients and figuring it out.
exactly. I agree 100%. That, or at least have a deadline for a big goal, and then break out the action items and assign them.
So relate to that. And this is the question that everyone that's on this podcast dreads this question. It's
Oh,
so get ready. So if you could jump in the time machine to the start of your career, what would you tell yourself?
how far back do I got to go?
It's up
Like,
to you.
got
It's-
out of college?
Yeah.
No,
and-
it's up to you. We've had people do it from a couple years ago to further back.
Yeah. And that's last night when I was reading the question, I'm like, so am I jumping back to the beginning of BFF, or am I jumping back further? So I thought about it. And for me, I thought about both ways, and I thought about BFF. So I went back to the beginning of BFF, and for me, it was what I would tell myself is what we just said: have the plan, have the business plan in place, focus more, go stronger, go harder, start sooner. Because I was the wishy-washy one. Linda was ready to pull the trigger and start.
But and to be fair, I used to be a CPA.
Yes.
And to be fair, I was working corporate and I had some of my own small jobs. That's not what, business is. You didn't do that. So to be fair,
Right.
I was already used to it. I was acclimated already.
That's true. But you know what I would tell you? Because when we were, though I'm supposed to be telling myself, when we were first starting
I'm like,
out,
wait a minute.
I,
Okay, let me be Katie.
I originally wanted to start with our own blends. And we were first going down that we were going to sell somebody else's. We were going to resell.
We also said we were going to be doing online only.
That's true.
See how much we evolved?
Yeah, definitely.
That's true. We
And
did.
but if I could jump back, it wouldn't even be off of BFF. I would jump back because it's a learning. Everything's a learning thing.
Yeah.
And I would go all the way back from when I wouldn't have gotten my degree I got.
Oh, you
right?
wouldn't have?
No, I don't know. Accounting's, right?
But you're so good at it.
I know, it's easy. I like, but I would have gone back to, because I love designing, I love kitchens. That's my favorite thing, is doing
yeah.
the hardscapes in the kitchen. I would have done something that centered around food and the kitchen still.
Okay.
Right? Instead of coming to it in my 50s, I would have done it earlier in my 20s.
Okay. All right.
And last but certainly not least, for those that want to know more about BFF Kitchen, where can they go?
BFFkitchen.com.
Yep.
Or if you look in Edible, you can find our recipes in there. If you look at Life on the Bay, we're in there. We're on, I don't remember the one on the Cape.
We're going to be in the P-Town police officers or police association book that they put out once a year. And then Living Crew. Living Crew is a new publication. So right now it's our website, and then you can find us and our recipes in those 4 publications. Living Crew is a new publication. And I may get this wrong, and I apologize to the people who are doing it if I
Sorry, Marcy.
Marcy, because
You apologize.
I haven't had the time to read it myself, but I believe what I have been told is it is a magazine about women, for women,
It is.
by women.
Awesome.
I read it.
So
Cool.
yeah, so those publications.
Correct.
And I promise, now it's going to be out there, as soon as the website's done, because we're going from WooCommerce
Yeah, you-
over to Squarespace, and everything has to start again and type. I will be getting back on doing the blogs and the recipes, going back out there again, so that people can start realizing that cooking's not as hard. It's not daunting, and it's fun.
Great. Well, Katie, Linda, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thank you, Jonathan, for having us. This is great.